Welcome back to the channel. I know I've been lost on these streets for quite some time, but I have valid reasons if you care to listen. So now what is happening is that the whole idea for me starting this channel was that I get to interview people in their hustles. I talk to people and I get to hear their story about whatever kind of hustle they're involved in. And let me tell you, it is not easy to get people to bring onto this channel. I've had a few kind people who have accepted my request and I have them on schedule. But I cannot force them to be on schedule as much as, according to how I want it. So now when I get people who agree to be on the channel, I have to wait until they're ready. And that is what is happening. Sometimes I get lapses and that is not an excuse enough. I know I should be working very hard on my side, but I have to balance this, the other things that I'm doing on the side, plus I also have to balance this with my 8 to 5 job. So it becomes a bit tricky, but I'm glad that you understand because you're my people and I had to tell you just exactly what is happening. Aside from that, I have one edition that is currently undergoing editing. Aside from that, you know that I'm the one who does the shooting, I do the interviews, and then I get to edit the videos and upload them on this channel. It is a one girl show, a one man show. So if the lapse sometimes is a bit too long, please forgive me. Someday I'm going to be a very developed channel where I can hire a camera person, an editor, and I'm the storyteller. Yeah. But before that happens, you'll put up with these lapses. Yeah. I noticed that the channel is steadily growing even without me uploading content. And that is why I want to give you story time today. So that uh, we keep this gig going. I want to talk about hustles that I've done in the past because I can only speak about myself. As much as this channel is bigger than me, a whole channel cannot be to my name. I cannot be dancing in the shop every day. You get tired of such kind of stuff. So I have to be creative. That is why today I want to give you a story about hustles I've done in the past that have failed. Have you ever tried something and it failed? How often do you tell people about your failures? So now me, I'm sitting here. I want to tell you about my failures in black and white. So now one of the hustles that I've done in the recent past. Yeah, it was this year, 2023. Some of the times I cruise over social media pages. And one thing that I noticed is that people were looking for house managers, house helps. Some people call them day bugs. I don't find that name respectful, but it is a common name. So I noticed there is a huge need for, especially for some of the local groups that I'm a member in. I noticed people were asking for leads to house helps and house managers. And I said, no, Cynthia, you cannot just be sitting here looking at an opportunity like this. What can you do about it? There is a need. And I've read books and I've heard people talk about, if you want to be successful in a business, you just have to identify a need and then you work towards solving this need. So I said, finally, life has new meaning to me. And I said, this is the business idea for that. Especially at that time, I was not doing anything. So I said, I'm going to be a house help recruiting agency. So I contracted someone to print some digital posters for me. There was one advertising about the agency, and of course I called it a very simple name, My Help Agency, such that if anyone looks at it, they just realize, my help, help. People who are posting, I need a help, I need a. So it automatically became My Help Agencies. And then now, after formulating that name, of course, I went to the e-citizen page and I registered the name, and then I started recruiting. Then I realized, how am I going to recruit so that this agency stands out and it is different from all there? There were people doing it already. I'm not the first person and I was not the last for that matter because this is a venture that started and soon after it had to end. Well, so of course, I did that. I did all the preliminaries, and then I talked to a certain lady whom I know has a help agency that is running and has been running for years. In fact, her she does even gardeners, and she provides security people. I think she's not just focused. Over the years, she has reestablished herself so that she provides such kind of services. Just not only limited to house managers. So now my strategy was that I I train the ladies. I get to know where they come from. And this meant that every time someone called me or someone gave me leads to where, there's someone who's looking for such kind of a job, I will go there physically, my friend. Then now I made this. You can see these posters. Hey, it reads, "Are you looking for a well paying job? My help agencies is looking to train and hire domestic managers and gardeners. Call." And I even go ahead and put my own number here. This is my personal number. I put it on the poster. Then whenever I came back from work, I used to work with a bunch of papers in my bag. Hmm? Let me show you my work bag. This one here. So now I will stack a lot of posters in here. And when I'm going to work in the morning, of course, there was not enough time. But in the evening, on coming back, ungangano. You know ungangano? I get to mix water with dough. No, with the cooking. What is it called? Baking flour. Wheat flour. I mix it under. Hey, my friend, if you're looking for a hustle and you're embarrassed, hey, me, I've done things that are actually. If someone would look at me, all forms of embarrassment in me are gone, are gone, are gone. Because the kind of things I've done, I will mix those things myself and glue them on electricity posts, on fences, on walls. As long as there's no notice that if you stick anything on this wall, you will pay up to 800,000 shillings. Fine. I will stick these papers there. And so the other idea was that food and accommodation will be provided. So the idea was that I get a quorum of people, maybe 20 to 30, and then I host them in my home. Then I train them. I was going to call some medical personnel so that they train them on basic first aid. I had a strategy. Coming to think of it. Then, of course, I call someone from catering department so that they can be trained on how to cook exotic meals. Then, of course, I was to train them on courtesy because I'm someone who's very keen and high on courtesy and how to, speaking with the people and generally I don't know how I can call it, but what can you call it? In business, you call it maybe customer care. So now, with regards to a home, you know how you conduct yourself, where a family is, where children are, where people who are older than yourself are. That was going to be my docket. And then I first realized that having to move from one place to the other, looking for these people, and then get to know their homes was the first challenge that I encountered. But still, I will do it because I will just use my motorbike and I get to their homes. And then, number two, reaching the quorum was not possible because I could get people at different times. Maybe you get three people this week. The next week, you don't get really someone that you talk with people on the phone, and some of them you just let them go before you engage them. So that was what was happening. I would vet people or by just listening to them before I welcome them. So now it ended up that I'd met, I found a quorum of four girls. And then now the demand, I started advertising myself on Facebook and all these social media pages. Then now women started reaching out massively, massively. That is when I discovered the gap is there. The gap is real. If you're someone who wants a business idea and you have capital and resources and you really want to get into such kind of a thing, you can try training house helps for people. And then now, let me tell you where the challenge came. So now, when you train people, of course you expect to bargain for them at their host places so that they get a better pay. And now Personally, I was looking at hosts paying these helps up to maybe on the minimum 8,000, because I'd checked around and I realized some of these agencies vouched for their ladies or the girls to get paid to at least 10 to 15,000. By then, the minimum I had was 10,000 shillings, and it was going up to 15 to 20,000 shillings in homes. In fact, there was someone who was ready to pay 20,000 shillings, and she wanted a nanny. Someone called and told me, Cynthia, do you have a nanny, a well trained nanny? And I said, no. Yeah. Well, so now challenge came in when now I had to train them. Of course, I could not train them in my home because my home was not a standard. Even now, it is not a standard home that you would want to train someone in preparation for dispatching them into someone else's home. I knew I needed a setup where there's a good kitchen. Nowadays homes have a lot of electrical appliances, and I didn't have such kind of things in my house. So now I had to book an Airbnb. Just look at what I do for business, what I've done in the past, the risk, the expenditure. So now here I am. I talked to a friend to my husband's who runs an Airbnb. And that was the best setup I could use, because it's just a home setup like you'd have in a host's house. And then I take the two ladies. Of course, I had to buy meals so that we go prepare, I see how they do it. We're also going to focus on cleanliness. I was set. I was feeling like, yes, this is the business now that will get me out of the woods. Why? Then we went, and I noticed that basic things like, of course, someone has come from Bundus, someone has come from rural areas, and you don't expect them to know how to operate electrical appliances. We did the training, yes, I did it. And then I dispatched the girls. One went to Nairobi, another went to Kisumu, and then I sat back. And yeah, two went to Nairobi and one went to Kisumu. Then the other one, we let her go as we waited for, if we'd have someone else asking for a help. And then, eh, let me tell you, the good part is that when you have identified your niche, now I wanted to send helps to average homes where someone will be paid at least 10,000 shillings. Here we are not talking about 4,000 shillings, because if you look at the kind of investment I was doing in this business for these potential hosts, my friend, aside from the posters that I've showed you, there's also something that I called a nanny employment form. So in this form here, this form had details of the nanny in question, their phone number, even next of kins, and then there was some basic questions here like, have you ever been arrested or convicted of a crime? This is something that is important for the employer. Are you certified in first aid? Are you comfortable caring for children when they are mildly ill? So these are things that most of the time would be answered no when they came. Then by the time I'm dispatching them to the hosts' homes, they will be the nose will turn into yes, because now they've undergone this kind of training. And these are people whom we were dispatching to hosts and not having them paid at least not less than 10,000 shillings. So I was watching for that. I got one lady who was ready to pay 8,000 Kenyan shillings. The others were ready to pay 10,000 Kenyan shillings. Do you have cooking skills? If yes, specify. Local cuisine, international cuisine. Who will not want that in their houses? Tick which gadgets you are comfortable operating. Microwave, cooker, washing machine, home theater, vacuum cleaner. Man. Do you have any medical condition that could affect your ability to care for children? If yes, explain. By the way, I did a lot of research before I started this business idea. Yeah, those are some of the papers that I had, some of the documents that I had. Let me show you others. Then there was this other one that will identify the exact place where this person comes from. so that in case of anything in your house, you just call us. We have records of these people, and then we get to identify where they came from, and even a number of next of kins, like name of the father, name of the mother, sublocation, location, name of the village elder, nearest church. There is no way you'd lose such kind of a person. I tell you, I was prepared. I cannot get into the very details, but these are some of the documents that I had before I started. I even had a business logo. Yeah. Why? Then there was this other one. Yeah, terms and conditions. Now this terms and conditions one, I think was meant to be signed by the employer. I forget a bit. Hey, and it had a lot of pages. This is almost 10-page document that I formulated with the help of the lady that I've told you about, whom is currently running this kind of a business. And I'll even attach a description or a link to her business, so that in case you have such needs, you can actually contact her. Yes. So terms and conditions included things like the length of the contract, payment, what else? A lot of things. Employees and profiles, employers and services, consumer guarantees, and so on and so forth. So now what happened? Before the first week was over, the first lady called and she said, I do not feel like this lady you sent is living up to expectations, especially now that I'm paying her the kind of money that you quoted. And I asked, is it something that you can hold on so that you assess and give her time to get used to the environment and the kind of work that you expect her to do? And before I finish talking to this lady, I receive another call from the next lady, and there were complaints here and there. Then, before I reorganized my mind, this week, before the week was over, the third lady just called me one evening and told me, please come and pick her. I remember it was a rainy evening. I'd just come from work. And I thought, I'm not ready for this kind of. Maybe I was ill prepared, but I just thought I was not ready for this kind of drama. Well, I went and picked them. I picked the lady. And for this one now, the complaints were that she had been sleeping the whole day, as much as she had mentioned she was unwell, but I don't know. Just a lot of complaints. And I said, me, Cynthia, I'm not going to continue this kind of business. And I recalled, because I had visualized the situation where all the three ladies were going to be returned back, and I did not want to hold up to any finances from them, and so I was willing to refund everything except the fare, and that is how the business collapsed. And I said, well, the opportunity is there, but now the mechanisms of handling this kind of a business is what I may have overlooked. So, if you're someone who feels like you want a business idea, I'm selling you a business idea for free. You can start a help agency. The only thing I can say is that you need a space where you can well train these candidates effectively. Train them so that they know what they expect when they go where they go. And then additional things like first aid will come in handy, because especially in environments where they're handling children get into all forms of accidents. Sometimes children choke on food, sometimes children have falls, such kind of things. So they should be able to handle these ones even before they call the hosts or before they get to contact rescue services. What else? Another plus would be, I think, in the kitchen. Yeah, if you can train them very well on kitchen issues, catering, domestic catering, I think that will also be a plus. Then efficiency and courtesy, that will be a plus. Yeah. And I think that is where maybe I was ill prepared or something, but that is how it ended up. So it was good while it lasted. I had a rush of adrenaline because I thought eventually this is the business idea I'd been waiting for, and unfortunately it did not work. And that is our story time today.